kind of the definition of a good old girl, as my dad would say.
Yeah.
You know, it's got some patina, but just signs of age of, you know, being 75,000 miles. Welcome to that episode of Jay Leno's Garage, the car featuring today 1963 Porsche 356 SC. This is sort of the classic 356 that I remember when I was a kid. You know, this is what I call kind of my street grab series. When I see a car I like, kind of go, hey, that might be fun to have on the show. It turns out it's being taken care of by a friend of mine, Richard Powers. Richard, come on in. Now, where did you find this?
Well, good story, Jay. Hello.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, a mechanic,
Yeah.
had called me up and said, hey, I have this car. You may be interested in coming down and looking at it.
Yeah.
I went down there, and he was basically doing the mechanicals because the car had been in storage for about 36 years.
Wow.
At that time, I said, okay, well, what's the story? Well, the guy wants to sell it. He's owned the car for 50 years, and he hasn't, you know, he was moving to Idaho. And
Was he the original owner?
No. The original owner's name was Ted Factor.
Yeah.
He bought the car in Lugano, Switzerland. The first receipt for maintenance was around 400 miles.
Right.
Then in 63, towards the end of 63, 2,000 miles, there was a receipt for it from the same dealership, and Ted Factor lived in Beverly Hills.
Right.
So he ships the car back to Beverly Hills. He has the car there for 3 or 4 years, and he sells it to a friend of his named Michael Kay.
Right.
Also Beverly Hills.
Right.
Car was maintained by Auto Zipper,
Sure.
Beverly Hills.
Yeah, yeah.
Porsche and Volkswagen, I think, at the time as well. At that time, Mr. Kay kept the car for, I believe, 2 years until he sold it to a Howard Meister of Manhattan Beach, California.
Right.
Okay. So Howard, of course, he had the car serviced with Vasek Pollock, and it's a local garages there.
Right.
And he kept the car for about 2 years. And then in 1971, he sold it to a guy named Jim Pugh, P-U-G-H, from Palos Verdes.
Right.
His son, Tim, was famous as a tennis star. He won Wimbledon at the time. And then they kept the car for about a couple of years.
Right.
And then they sold it to a guy named Dusty Rhodes.
You know, I'm sorry I asked the question, actually. This is I thought you were going to say one guy. So it's had quite a few owners before it went
About 4 owners,
And Dusty Rhodes, was he a male stripper? Who was that?
Yeah, I know. He was out of the South Bay as well.
Right.
Bought the car.
Right.
And was the owner for the last 50 years till I discovered this car around December.
So it came from...
Yeah, so the last owner was...
Okay.
And then he moved away to Michigan for a while. I think it was somewhere around there, Troy.
Right.
And he came back like 4 years later to Southern California. And in 1988, he put the car in his garage and put a cover on it and forgot about it. And last year in October, when he was moving away, the movers said, what do you want to do with this car? He goes, oh my God, I forgot about it. I want to take it with me. He's in his 80s, so he wasn't
Well, how much
driving.
recommissioning did it need? Was it pretty straight?
This is basically, he had it repainted in '84, so this paint's 40 years old, just about.
Well, the nice thing about air-cooled cars is there's no water in the system. There's nothing to rust on it, really, unless you're in a bad climate.
And I mean, you see this sticker, Jay, on the windshield
UCLA,
from 1971
Right.
on the outside. I mean, the car's always garaged its whole life.
Yeah.
Every receipt that was from 1963 to currently, maintenance and service records.
Are the seats original?
No, that was replaced.
Yeah.
But everything else is original except the seats.
How many miles on this thing?
It's showing just under 70,000, 69,000 miles.
And it looks like you've got all the receipts. I see a pretty thick book there.
Yeah, there's hundreds of receipts that document the entire service records, which is pretty incredible, and they're in amazing shape as well.
Right. I like 63, 64. I think 65 was the last year.
Correct.
Of the 356.
Correct.
So those were sort of the best ones. I've got a 63 Carrera too, the twin cam.
Beautiful.
Which, it's interesting. It's almost twice the price of this.
Yeah.
But
Well, now it's probably 5 times.
well, the interesting thing about the 4Cam is it's twice as much money, but you got almost twice the power.
Yes.
I
yes.
mean, but it's such an amazing engine. You can keep it at $7,000 all day long. It'll just sit
Right,
there. It doesn't.
right.
You know, most American cars,
They die.
bang, bang, bang. You hear knocking and
Right.
yeah.
There goes the piston.
Yeah, and I love driving it. It's great with the big steering wheel. It's funny, when the 911 came out, people rebelled. Oh, the ugly thing. What? Oh, they ruined the 350. You know,
Yeah.
Porsche people don't like change. You know,
That's correct.
you know, so but these are just wonderful cars to drive, and the build quality of them is
Amazing,
Is
yeah.
what's so amazing. And this one looks just original. Was this down by the beach somewhere? Because it looks like there's a little bit
Yes.
of pitting. Yeah.
Yes. Like I said, it spent quite a few years in the South Bay after it left Beverly Hills.
Right.
So, but even though it was garaged, I mean, all the original rubber, the glass, the moldings.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a time capsule, basically.
I remember in the
well-preserved.
80s seeing these for $2,500.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now you're what?
125.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Easy,
Yeah.
easy. Is this the second highest horsepower before you get to the 4Cam?
Yes, I mean, this has, as you know, the A and B and the C went
Right.
through some transitions. And the C, starting with this year, 63, went with the disc brakes, and that was a 75 horsepower, and then the SC
Right.
had the 95 horsepower.
So this has disc brakes.
Yeah, this has all
And this
disc
has
brakes.
those annular disc brakes. It's that weird setup.
Yes.
Yeah, that's 1 year.
Yes.
As I remember, well, I'm going back now to reading in math class with Road and Track under my. As I remember, they didn't want to pay the royalties to Girling or Lockheed or whoever it was.
Correct.
They developed their own system, but it was troublesome. I know on mine, one day I was driving my Carrera, and boy, my foot went right to the floor.
Oh,
and
shoot.
oh boy, I just went sailing past my exit. I drove home on the handbrake, and we repaired it. But
Yeah.
but it's 1 or 2 years only, I think.
63, late 63, 64, and 65 was the last year before the 911
Right,
came in, the
okay,
short wheelbase.
And it's what? It's 95 horsepower.
Correct.
Okay. It was 75, 95,
Yeah.
and then the
Yeah, all with the 1600 cc engine.
right.
yeah.
Very nicely done. Let's pop the hood. Let's take a
Sure.
look here. Ooh, That looks great. Are those aftermarket air cleaners? I assume they are.
Those are the original ones came with the Solexes. So
Oh,
these are
okay.
the Webers
all right.
with different manifolds.
Okay.
I have the original Solexes that come with the car as well.
So you might be closer to 100 horsepower.
That's what we were
Yeah,
estimating, yeah.
No, it looks very nice. Doesn't look like it's been hit or anything.
No, there was a couple of fender benders that I saw in the receipts
Yeah,
over the years, yeah. But solid, no rust underneath the chassis. It's just a solid car.
75,000 miles?
69,700,
69,000,
something
okay.
like that, yeah.
Oh, okay. What else is unique about these?
Yep,
Stock, everything else is stock on it, right?
correct,
As
yes.
you said, it's got the trick disc brakes on it. And the SC is what, Sport Coupe, is that correct?
Yes, I think that was the designation for that
Right.
because it was a 20 horsepower upgrade from the C.
You know, it's so funny. There are certain Italian sports cars, you see them for sale, they're 30, 40, 50 years old. They always got 27,000 miles. The thing I like about Porsche is people really do drive them.
Yes.
75,000 is nothing on this
No,
motor.
no.
This will go 150, 200,000.
It should, yes.
Yeah. So other than paint, it's pretty much original. Oh, well, the seats are redone.
Yeah, the seats are redone.
That's another thing I like. You know, my Carrera has the Porsche sports seat, and it's a seat. It's not a racing bucket.
Right.
I'm so tired of these, bucket seats where you don't fit in them.
Yeah.
Where this is like a big, comfortable chair.
Yes, it is.
And it really makes it nice to drive and fun to drive. The fun thing about this is just keeping your foot in it and keeping the revs up forever.
Yeah.
Even like a Volkswagen, you can run your foot flat to the floor all day. You might top out at only 78 miles an hour, but the engine's giving it all. With these, you can really sort of not flog them because the engines never feel like they're working that hard.
No, I mean, we drove the car today about 40 miles, and we were on the freeway, and everyone's going 80.
Right.
And we're keeping right up with traffic.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, wow, this is a 60-year-old car.
Right, yeah. Well, let's take it for a ride. Porsches are for driving. Let's give it a shot.
Sounds good.
I'm curious to see how it compares to my
Carrera.
Yeah. Webers on it, instead of Solexes. How long ago? You didn't do that, did
I
you?
didn't do that. That was done in 80. I saw the receipts. I think it was 83.
Feels like my 4Cam with 2 plug wires pulled.
That's about right.
That's pretty good, though. Pretty lively.
Yeah, it shifts well.
I love the big steering wheel.
Yeah. Well, you have the same steering wheel on your Carrera.
Well, this should be an easy sell. It drives very nice.
Yeah, it's very smooth. We did this little rally a couple weekends ago from the Peterson Museum with Bruce Myers.
Right.
Ford versus Ferrari. One of the organizers, a friend of mine, and he said, yeah, if you stay in the back, you can drive the Porsche around.
Pulls very nicely, doesn't it? Brakes don't pull. It feels like the 4Cam, except the 4Cam's got a little more power.
Yeah.
But this thing goes very nicely.
Yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised, when a car hasn't been taken apart, how well they still drive, and especially one that's been maintained as well as this one has.
Any desire to keep this one?
No, it's got to go for sale.
Yeah.
I've become a minimalist, Jay. Gotten rid of most all the cars.
Wow.
A lot of these things will grind in second gear when you try to go into it.
Handles very nicely.
Doesn't it? Yes.
How old are these tires? Are they brand new?
No, they're 40 years old.
Are they 40 years old?
I think so.
Yeah.
The tread looks brand new on them, but
yeah, it doesn't mean anything. I got the Mercedes 600.
Yeah.
One day I'm on the 210, bam! Tire literally blows off the rim.
Yeah.
I feel like, oh man, this is a close call. Let's put the spare on. So you get the spare on. I said, let's head back so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
You go about 4 miles, bam! The blows out.
Another one blows.
And I said, well, that's it. Now we flatbed it back.
We were coming up here, as I said, mentioned earlier, doing 80 miles an hour. Keeping up with traffic, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, these tires are really old.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take much.
Yeah.
And when they go, they let go right now.
Yeah, a little pothole. Fortunately, it's cool outside, so.
Yeah. This thing is remarkable condition for never being restored.
I mean, that's why I'm so excited about it when I saw it.
You don't see many red Porsches. But this is an example of just a good used Porsche, just nicely maintained.
Yep.
Not over-restored or anything. Actually, it's never been restored.
No.
Just maintained.
Amazing how well these cars went.
I know.
60-year-old car.
I know, it is. The thing I can never justify in my mind, when I was a teenager in the 60s, a Duesenberg was like a car from the 80s or 90s right now.
Yeah,
I mean, that just seems, it seems so much further back when you're a kid, I used to say to myself, but one day we'll be driving old cars that are 100 years old. Now half my cars are 100 years old. I think it's a kind of definition of a good old girl, as my dad would say.
Yeah.
You know, it's got some patina, but just signs of age of, you know, being 75,000 miles. But the engine feels very strong.
Yeah.
It is amazing how primitive the early cooling and heating systems were, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lever up front, you pull it, you get the boxes closed, turn the heat on, and then you go fresh air or hot air.
You ever drive a Porsche with the gas heater?
Oh yeah.
Those are kind of cool.
I had a 63 VW wagon that I used to go to work in.
Seems dangerous, doesn't it?
I lived in Colorado, and you know, I had to scrape the ice off, but you know, you turn that gas heater on, and 1 minute later you were cooking.
Yeah.
It was nice, hot air blowing right out there. Otherwise it was good 30-40 minutes before you got any heat into the engine.
Well, thanks for bringing this by. You know, it's fun to drive all the supercars and even all the modern high-end Porsches. And just see something like this on the street, you go, oh, I wonder what that's like to drive. And thanks for bringing it over. It really was nice. And
you're welcome, Jay. Anytime.
I think this has got easily another 75 or 100,000 miles.
It's actually finished. Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah. We'll
I hope you enjoyed this drive, and just a nice old car. That's what it is. A nice old Porsche.
Yep.
Something when I was a kid you could have bought for $1,500.
Yep. Yep.
Now you throw an additional 99,000, 100,000. Yo, geez,
whatever. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Exactly.
See you guys next week.
Thank you.